Oh, here we go. Yeah, me.
Here we
Yeah,
are.
me.
Hey guys, how are you doing?
Good. What's
So
up?
Very excited for this one. We have Robness and we have Colburn from Museum of Crypto Art. So I was just telling them offline, and Robness started speaking. I said, no, we're not live yet. You can't start the conversation before we're actually. I was just asking Robness to go, way back to when it all started, and yeah, like tell us about your journey into crypto art.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, for me, I was doing music and art at the same time, pretty much. So I had like this dumpy recording studio, like rehearsal lockout space where you basically just rent a bunch of spaces, and you have your band and you have all your equipment just stored in one spot. And you can practice and go in and out. During that time, I was doing mostly just normal crypto stuff, just investigating the technology and so forth, and just messing with it and seeing what all the experiments out there were doing, and came across the counterparty network on Bitcoin, and that's when I first figured out about tokenization and burning tokens and creating assets with names on them and all that stuff. And so I kind of had to get my head wrapped around that first. So that took a while. I mean, for me, that was like just a lot to just figure out that abstraction. The burning thing actually was like burning tokens, like it's so like offhand now. We're so used to it, but back then it was kind of like just a whole new type of process and thinking. So when I got over that hump, then I found the Rare Pepe trading guys, and then from that point on, we just figured out how to attach images to the blockchain and tokenization. And from that point, all hell broke loose, and we started making cars like crazy, and then it turned into a worldwide thing. So that's my first way to get into like crypto art and stuff, and that had its own period. And then I don't like to say the bull run was over, but like for some reason, like all the projects and the whole space just burrowed and caved in, and everything was quiet. And then I went traveling, and then when I got back, the crypto art gallery phase came to prominence, and I got to see Known Origin, Super Rare, RareArt.io, rest in peace. I don't know what's going on with that, but got into that, and then I started meeting the collectors and stuff. So Colborn, that's the era when all this stuff kind of happened. So yeah.
Tell us, how did you both meet, Colburn?
I mean, that's impossible. I do remember like finding Robness's Super Rare page and scrolling through it and falling in love specifically with spiritmother.exe.
Right?
Oh
yeah.
And it's kind of like this glitched hyperfuture background, this Japanese text. And I'm like, this is just the aesthetic. Like, this is where we're going. If there is like something to encapsulate like the global community, the sci-fi themes, glitch arc, cyberpunk aesthetic, like you nailed it. And I think somebody else had it. And I remember like bidding and no, and then like bidding more and no. And I'm like, these people, like, they get it too. Like, they're not here to flip. They understand this aesthetic. And, from there, you go through all of the pieces. And I think about like the pieces that I was able to kind of acquire along the way. And there's so many that speak to me. And I don't know if we want to go into like specific pieces now.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I mean, what's beautiful about, I think, Robness, right, is you have this just like unbridled creativity, right? You just bring it and you keep bringing it. And I know you've talked a bit about like kind of, the fear in creating something and letting it go and it being different styles. And, but there's so many. What is the name of the piece where, it's you did a whole series on AI faces that kind of morph and mutate. Mm-hmm. And it was talking about, I know there's the fake Craig Wright piece, and that in and of itself is amazing. But I think it's something around like the dissolution of the American dream.
And the Great American Supernova.
The Great American Supernova is such a good piece, man.
Thank you.
because
Yeah, it should be like halfway down, but yeah, it's funny those portrait morphs. That was kind of like the phase of the AI. Everybody was investigating the AI stuff. Max Osiris was full in it. I was starting to mess with it, and I noticed it's funny because the different tools you can use out there to do the portrait morphs. I had a problem with some of them because they looked kind of unnatural. So like either they were too quick or they were too slow. So for these actually, I kind of had to go kind of like in depth with it. Like there's an app called Art Breeder, and you can do the portrait morphs there. But what I had to do with these was I actually literally had to go to the parameter settings where you can change like slightly. You can change the chin, or you can change the eye set, or any of that. And I would have to click like one frame every single time, and like I'd have to do that to like 500 instances, and then basically weave all those together so that it would be somewhat smooth for me, because I was just like, it's just too fast. It looks too crazy, and slow enough where you can kind of watch it and kind of enjoy the morph, And so sometimes I would screw up. If I missed one click, I'd have to redo the whole thing over, because it was one of those things where you can't just like move the dial over exactly. Like I had to click the right arrow or the left arrow just to make sure it would be I'd be able to string them together. But all these are actually kind of mapped out. Like what I would do is I would find like 5 different phases, or 4 or 5 or 6 different phases of the morph, and then I would like map out where I would have to take the dials and controls and stuff. It was like working with a synthesizer almost. I always like kind of take it to the music side, but like it's like you find a certain preset and you got to dial it there and then go to the next one and all that. So all these I had to dial together. But for the American Supernova piece, that was just based on the political spectrum at the time. In the United States, just the Democrat versus the Republican just got to a heated pace, and for me, that piece, like the very first frame, it looks like almost like how would you say, man? Almost like 1776. It looks like this. It's got like this stone kind of, you know what I mean? It's got like
it's like the arrival of the Second Enlightenment piece, right?
Yeah.
Like where it begins, and it's held so stoically, and then it just like transforms and mutates, and you feel the anger, and you feel like this cultural uprising, and to be so prescient and forward thinking, to see this conflict and then see how the conflict like carried out to eventually them like storming the Capitol building. It all, and then it goes back to like that historic kind of like monument, 1776 moment.
Yeah.
And I just love the way the description fits that piece. Super.
Yeah, thank you. And I mean, there's a little instance there. It almost looks like JFK is in there for a second. Like there's a split second, you can almost see him there. And so like I would have fun with these that like, just you don't know exactly how the GONS is going to work, the artificial intelligence like tools. Sometimes things pop out like magically and you're like, oh my God, this is totally working. Like there's another piece I made too. It's like from Satoshi to Shakespeare. That one was like, how the hell did that even happen? I started off with the, sorry, I'll let you get to it. So I don't want to, yeah, there it is right there. So I started off with the Dorian, portrait. And then I started moving through different phases, but at the end it lands on Shakespeare's face. But that was the machine taking over and actually generating that. And for some reason it just landed on it. I'm like, oh my God, it looks like Shakespeare. So that's where we stop. And so it goes through a bunch of different faces, but you'll see it come out. And from that point, I'm like, okay, the piece is done. And then I looked into Shakespeare's history, and it turns out that like some people are like, there's a story that like people don't actually know if it was Shakespeare that actually did the work. They said that there might be somebody else who was actually doing all the writing, and there's another story to that. So for me, like, so the Satoshi and Shakespeare thing kind of like merged together. That like there might be mystery creators on both sides. So yeah, it was just one of those pieces, just like magic,
And so I took a lot of early cues from Zafadoc.
Yeah.
What an incredible collector!
Yeah, totally, Zafadoc. Props.
Yeah, keen eye, very mysterious.
Yeah, and Zafadoc's cool too because he likes to collect outside of cryptosphere as well. You know, that's how I am too. Like when I collect pieces, I mean, I don't care usually where it's coming from. So, I mean, if something pops up on Rarible, I'll get it. If something pops up on Hicketnunk, I'll get it. Or, you know, just depends. You know, so yeah.
Can we check out?
Those are fun.
Can we check out some of your conceptual work? Can we go to crediting sources?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, let's do that one.
Yeah, that was so good. It's so good.
Yeah, it should be at the top. Yeah, it's close to the top. It's just the gray one.
With some text. I think it's a little lower.
Let's see.
It's on the left. I saw it. Keep going down a little.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is right there. Yeah. So, I mean, like all water under the bridge, but like at the time I was making so much work on Super Rare that I was kind of getting like reprimanded for doing that. But like they were saying also that we had to cite sources because of the copyright. They were scared of the copyright stuff. So for me, I was like, it just kind of like irked my chain. I'm like, no, like we're getting away from all of that, you know? So I had to like, I had to say something about that. So literally started with the color gray. Found out that Sir Isaac Newton actually was the one who created the terminology for gray itself, which I thought was kind of funny. I'm like, well, somebody had to name it. And so it starts from there and it goes all the way to the very end, which is, you know, Satoshi Nakamoto allowed me to be able to generate this art piece and mint it. But, you know, it goes through all the sources of what I had to use in order to get to this end spot. And so, yeah, so it's just a conceptual piece, you know. Sometimes I like to do topography pieces, so, you know, it depends on what I'm feeling at the time. But yeah, like that was one of those, like, you know, F copyright pieces. You
know? Another beautiful one in that series, you know, like My Wallet is a Gallery.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaks so directly to the power of what we're doing and the like openness and the transparency of it. It's a little lower. I love Virtual Skies. I need to get one.
Yeah. It's so funny that series, and you know, I was banging those things out, and man, it's just like one of those things. I was like, that was part of Photomosh too. That whole Photomosh thing, I was using that in like concert with just normal Photoshop work. So, but for some reason now, I actually everybody else was digging them, and I of course love them, but they kind of grew, and now it looks kind of vintage, which I think is kind of funny. You know, all these GIFs that we're making in the beginning, now it's like nobody dares make a low quality GIF anymore, and I'm like, they kind of look cool still. You know, like I like the cool one.
They look amazing.
Yeah, this one was like definitely like photo moshed, but I used some effects that like were kind of taboo back then. Like there's like a slight rainbow effect in there, and it's like nobody likes to use a rainbow effect, so I'm like, I got to use it. But kind of psychedelic 60s, but yeah, I mean, everybody was collecting at the time, and for me, the concept of the wallet just being the art gallery was starting to come out. So I mean, for all of us, we really didn't know until until we had like a large amount in all of our wallets. You know, so I just thought it was kind of funny that, you know, you'd be walking around, you know, you got your phone with you, and maybe in the future you'd be able to plug it up into a gallery, and you know, everything is just displayed. So yeah, that was just a piece to comment on what we were all kind of seeing at the time. So, and now that I think about it, a lot of these pieces are kind of like, man, it's kind of nice to reminisce on them, because it was just kind of chronological in the movement of what we were doing. So, but yeah, it's like simple piece, but for me, like it's enjoyable because it's just what we were all going through at the time, and yeah, and I kind of wanted to do like a psychedelic 60s look, like a poster, like one of those old school like 60s posters you see from like Woodstock or something. So yeah, Pico grabbed that one, I see.
Yeah, there's actually I think Zafadoc is actually saying hello.
Hey Zafadoc.
Nice.
Respect.
And Zach from Super Rare, I think, is watching too.
What's up, Zach?
But something that I wanted to comment, and you know, whilst I was actually like scrolling through like your Super Rare gallery, like I realized that, you know, and it's something that I've kind of always thought, is that you're not scared of experimenting, of changing style, of like doing whatever for, you know, the fun of it, right? Like actually creating, because making art is fun. And you know, even with like what you're doing on Hicketnunk, like obviously like dropping like anonymously, not really to create some sort of like FOMO, but just to make it fun. And like,
Yeah,
it's so
yeah.
visible with everything that you create. Like, there's no set guidelines, you know, there's no, I need to do this because this is my style. You know, it's like, I create because it's what I want to express, you know,
Yeah.
whether it's a moment in time or, and it's just so visible to me, at least.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah,
No,
for me, like, I mean, it's kind of weird because like I'm kind of envious as well for people that have like a real concrete style, and unfortunately, just for me, that's just never going to work because either I'm just like too neurotic and get too bored within a month or something, and I got to move on. But it's like for me, like my process is usually like finding like a certain technique, and then just exploring that, and then once I feel like I've said what I needed to say there, then it's time to move on. I don't know where that comes from really, but I think possibly like the fact that like I have a bunch of different like practices. I do music and I do, I write books and stuff like that. The music side is interesting because I'm more like a music snob. So like it's in that area, like I'm a little bit more judgmental, I guess, in that respect. But when it comes to art, it's weird. It's like, it's hard to describe. It's like there's like you can be an artist in many different fields, but some of them you're not emotionally attached to. And for me, like, thank God, like for art is like I'm not super emotionally attached to the entirety of it. Like I can jump out and I can do something else. And I think it's a blessing, to be honest, because I understand like how some artists can be afraid to jump. It's like you're kind of like you're saying goodbye to an old life or something. And so, but for me, it's like I love doing it now, and I feel like every time I jump, it's another challenge. Like the stuff I'm doing on Hicket Milk, I may or may not be releasing on there, like, but but honestly, like the work I'm doing on there is, I feel like it's just another chapter, and I'm actually like really loving it. And it's just it's like a new technique I'm working on, and I honestly think it's some stuff that I don't think anybody else is really doing. So I'm like really proud of it. But yeah, like to be able to jump, it's a good feeling, but it's always a risk. For me, it's like, is anybody even going to collect this stuff? Are they even going to like it? And sometimes there's a drought, and it's like, oh my God, I'm dead, But yeah, I mean, it happens all the time, It's like, oh, am I done now or what? Is this it? So. But yeah, it's been fun. Thanks to all the collectors that have been sticking in there, because I know it's annoying. Trust me. Like I make jokes all the time. Like the collectors hate me probably because I'm always like shifting. It's hard to track, So yeah.
Can we go down to insert crypto to play?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Love that.
Yeah.
Because this is the piece I'm going to be donating to the foundation in this idea of this Genesis collection. I love this piece. It's like very foundational. It's so bold. The pop style, especially how you continued it with the Bitcoin logos. And I think you did Ethereum logos as well.
Yeah.
But this is
some other people remixed it too. Yeah. Some people did, like, I think Wizard X did a bunch of remixes and so forth. But yeah, it's like arcade pop, for me, like that's when I was younger, that's that design is stuck with me ever since playing Street Fighter 2 in the arcade, like, to be honest, like the arcade aesthetic, like that history, a lot of people I think in the space kind of like vibe with, it's just an age bracket kind of. So I don't know, X-Copy asked me to make that, or well, to create a piece for him initially. For his galleries and stuff, I think in Cryptovoxels. So I whipped that one up and came out really nice, to be honest. I love it. Yeah. So thank you, man.
It's a cool one.
Thanks. Yeah.
It is, because it also kind of speaks to, I think, like the theme of like crypto art as really something to play with, It's like, it's kind of, like, I'm sure you can speak much better than I can on this, both of you, but like, it's kind of, there's like a bit of a sense of so much like seriousness now within, the whole space. Whilst actually, it all really started to play with, like, to have fun. You said it yourself, Robness. It started with the rare peppies. Like, we've had conversations around the rare peppies before, and you know, those are men's. Like and that's how it all kind of, you know, those were the grounds of it
Yeah.
all. So this really speaks to it. Like, insert crypto and play and just make it fun. You know, it's funny because it's so modern. Like, it speaks so much to, you know, like, for me as well, like what is happening now, like to go back to those roots from why people started creating and doing crypto art.
That's a good point too, because a lot of the stuff we were doing too, even outside of Super Rare or Known Origin, like, I mean, shoot, Max and I, we were joking around a lot of stuff. I mean, we were joking around about the whole spam thing, you know. We were making spam art, and we were spamming people's wallets on the side. We were, you know, like, we were just making some joke NFTs there. But like, now we look at those pieces, I'm like, well, technically, I guess we were the first ones to make spam art, you know, along with Jay DeLay and stuff. But that was outside of the gallery too, and we were just minting stuff just to do it and just to have fun with it. And now the people that have those pieces, they're like kind of like loving that they have them, you know. It's like a nice little moment in history, and and it's crazy to say that because so much stuff has gone down within the last couple of years. But yeah, like the spam art thing, just messing around with tokenization on OpenSea, and just having fun and just kind of running around traversing. Most of them are kind of like, you know, just having a good time, joking around. But now, even the giveaways, like when we're doing the giveaways now, because the fees are so crazy, we can't really do that anymore. But so now people are like liking the fact that they have those. So yeah, now that you're talking about that, man, the significance of this that actually means a lot to me now too, because yeah, I mean, the crypto space, man, you just gotta have fun with it. You know, you gotta have fun with the medium. And actually, I saw like Pac made a post about that, like just the medium itself and stuff. And I agree. I tend to agree with him on that. You know, the token itself is like, what can it be? What can it generate or manifest into? It can be many things. You know, infinity, pretty much. So
yeah. What I love about this piece specifically is like you have to somehow convince the crypto community, which is just so hyper commodified, always focused on the numbers, that it, like, you have to get them to give up this that feels like tangible and has value, although it's volatile, to like play in this new world and invite them to art. And if you could, it's like such a big leap in logic, but you know, if you want to be in, you have to like give up something that you're told to hodl, right? And I just, that phrase I think is incredibly powerful.
Yeah, that's another thing too, because I think, you know, with the gallery systems, you know, you get kind of like pigeonholed, and like you kind of think of just about like, I'm gonna just mint a JPEG or mint a, you know, MP4 and this and that. And it's kind of like getting a little bit formulaic, and I fall into that trap too sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes you just kind of like, you're kind of just moving along, but then then you stop to think. You're like, listen, wait, I can kind of jump out of that. Where else can I go with it? And like Max and I were making a couple foundation pieces of just making expensive texts, like as like tongue in cheek as it was. It's just like, for us, it was just kind of funny because the gas fees were getting pretty ridiculous, and it's kind of commentary on that, and what is a crypto gallery, what does it display, and just different things like that, you know, just messing around with it.
And I want to just shout out again, Jay DeLay, like such a brilliant mind, somebody that really cares so much about the art. Check out the project, rats.art. It's just a peer-to-peer exchange of artworks that kind of go into a central pool. I think that's an awesome, awesome project.
Yeah, Jay's a secret force in the space, honestly. I love whenever he talks too. It's great, man. He's got like this he's got a certain presence to him, man. I call him the Roy Orbison of Cryptoart, man. For some reason, he's got that cool, like, I don't know, there's just something to it, man. So
yeah. Do we want to talk about Rarible?
Yeah, I was about to jump to Rarible too.
Let's just jump to Rarible, because I still can't believe, just even talking about Rarible, like how it started and how it was perceived in the beginning. And oh my God, the Rarible account is like, this is like so much stuff. Half of the stuff in my account are like probably like stuff I've collected. Oh, here we go.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
can we talk about, didn't you and Max do a very early show in China? What is that piece?
Oh, shoot, what was the? Oh man, that's like I think Big Comic Art has the piece still.
Yeah.
It was like a neon piece. Is that the one with the guy with the hat?
I mean, there's a couple. It's deep in the history, but I remember Big Comic Art like organized the show, and there's the one piece I think that's not to be transferred. I don't know if that's a Max piece.
Oh, not to be transferred. It might be Max. Yeah, that sounds like a Max piece for sure. These pieces I gave to like Red Lion Gazette. They did like a giveaway, so that's probably why there's so many copies of it.
And didn't you do like a very early book? Or
yeah, yeah, it's funny because nobody was printing any books back then. So Rarible. So I already have a book I published on Amazon, and it's like a cyberpunk coffee table book. I called it Memphis Megahertz and the Kansas City Fractal. It's like it's one of those books where it's like they're like techno aphorisms. It's just one of those books that like if you like a certain page, you'll keep it open out on your coffee table, and it's like someone someone shows up and look, what is that, you know? But since nobody made like digital books on Rarible yet, so I said, screw it, let's do it, and just minted them. Some people bought a bunch of copies, which is cool. But yeah, you unlock it, you get the PDF. So we were just messing with that, and there's so much stuff in the Rarible account. It's like literally diving into like a pile. It's like there's so much stuff, but
it speaks to like what is the creativity that is unleashed when fees are low and you have just like fun and you can experiment. And I think Hic and Nunc like reinvites that spirit. And I think that's why we see people going there and doing all sorts of creative different things. And that was really, to me, what was so special about the early days of Rarible, is that it was just so free. And it was totally just like bootstrapped by this alternative movement that you just brought. And this was the marketplace to express those ideals.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And another thing too about Rarible in the beginning was, there wasn't really so much of a concerted effort to like, maybe possibly think that every piece that was going to get minted on there is going to be like historical in some aspect, whatever. We could really just mint whatever we wanted. So if we wanted to do a meme, we would mint it on there. And to be honest, when I got on Rarible, I started feeling the same vibes I was getting from the old Rare Pepe days. It's like mint anything you want. Let's go. Let's just. I don't care if it's a joke. I don't care if it's this or that. And so Max and I just started kind of abusing Rarible in the beginning, and then everybody else saw what we were kind of doing, and everybody else jumped on, like Crypto Una, Jay Delay, and all of us just started mint on there. And actually, it was kind of cool too because I would mint on OpenSea in my store contract, so I can keep all of my pieces like kind of like compartmentalized, and I just filter them through Rarible. And I told Max, I was like, hey, did you know you could list your pieces from your own store on here? You should do it. And then from that point on, we just kept pumping pieces out. And some of the collectors, I think, caught on. Yeah. And they would start buying from the Rarible site. But they would be getting stuff from our OpenSea contract. So it kind of worked hand in hand. And then after that, we were just, they had the leaderboard at the time on the side.
Yeah,
we were just going off, and I think too, like later on, like you kind of came in, you started to snipe pieces, man. I think you're starting to get like a couple of Max pieces here and there, and
I mean, when they first launched that leaderboard, it was like Colborn 70 ETH, Sats. Like, oh no, like what have I done? Like and then they paid us all out, and that was like what it was.
And actually, when I saw you come in and start getting pieces, honestly, I think that's when like a lot of the other collectors started running in too. I don't know who was first. I don't want to, because whoever, it doesn't even matter really. But the bottom line is, like, you and a bunch of others were starting to break that mold of like, oh, we only shop on Super Rare, we only shop on Known Origin or this and that. Like, you guys were like not afraid to jump out and get pieces from the outer rim, technically,
I mean, it's where I fell in love with like Lulu XX and like Alan Shop was doing cool pieces there. Jay Delay, of course. it was a scene. It was very special, unique moment. And like, I look back on my collection of that, and like a lot of fake stuff, a lot of scam stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, it goes back to like the very first piece I collected was a piece from Miss Al Simpson called Lady Luck. And it's just like roll the dice and see what follows.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, shoot, man, we made so much material, man, within say 6 months of that time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when I kind of started, you know, like looking into the space, like, to be honest, like all I could see, like my let's say my first memory of like crypto art is you, Robness, and Max like tweeting and just talking about like Rari gang and just like minting and minting and minting. And it was so fun because I was very unaware of, you know, everything, but I just remember so clearly, and it's something that I've told Colburn and a couple of people before, like it was you and Max like very much on Rarible, just having fun. And you know, for me it was so funny to just like follow the tweets, and like Max was posting like Instagram stories of him I think in Miami or Las Vegas, like I can't remember, Las Vegas probably, and it was just, you know, like I came in and I thought like this is crazy, like this is so fun, you know, like this is amazing. What are these people doing?
Yeah, like, you know, the Rarible platform was another, you know, anybody could just jump on it too. And for me, like the open platform thing at the time was something I was trying to like, you know, kind of like champion, you know, because I thought it was really important. I mean, you had OpenSea, but for some reason Rarible had this like, I think it was the site design that was just a little bit more accommodating to people, to newcomers. You know, it was a little bit more easier to navigate. And I think like the more Max and I were using it, the more we realized like, oh man, this is going to be like, you know, there's a nifty gateway, but like this was actually, to me, it was the nifty gateway technically, in a sense, you know, like, and a lot of people were able to just jump on there and test it out. You know, if they wanted to make like one, you know, NFT on there and just give it a go, you know, they had a chance to. And so I thought it was pretty important at the time. And now look at it, it's just a juggernaut, you know, along with some others. And yeah, it's kind of crazy to say that like I was in the beginnings of this platform, you know. It's weird how fast it's grown, you know. When I started seeing it crush the numbers on OpenSea, I'm like, wow, that's ridiculous, you know. Yeah. So yeah, and then everybody else started coming through, all the way to Mark Cuban. Like, what the heck is going on here, man?
All the way to sharp and toilet paper. You know, like in like a 1 time, it's just wild.
Yeah,
I mean, I want to go back, like when they gave out those distributions, and I think McCole, probably what you saw is like what I think to be one of Max's like finest pieces of conceptual art, where he just like took everything that he got from Rari, went to Vegas, spent like 3 days, and just like bought artist pieces who he respected for like 20 times the price.
Yeah, he went total ape.
Yeah, he went total ape.
Yeah.
Like he's like, free money, like let me just tell everybody else that this stuff is valuable. And like that little snippet was so cool. And yeah, and then, you know, he got stuck with that bar tab and had to liquidate everything. And
I know. He took the risk, you know. But yeah, it was a good moment in time, you know. It's funny too because see, the funny thing of like crypto art, it's like, what is that, right? But for me, like when that governance token thing came out, just from my previous experience just in crypto, like I knew exactly what that was. I was like, oh man. And I told Max, I'm like, you don't even know what's coming right now. And he's like, what is this? I'm like, just wait. And then the Rari drops happened, and then I was like, this is welcome to crypto. like this is how crazy things can get. So
yeah.
And actually the cool thing about that too was it broke kind of like the conception of like how you can produce income in the space. Like there's so many different ways to do it. Like people, because at the time it was just more concerned about like, oh, bidding, you know, I'm going to upload a piece and I hope somebody can bid on it. And that was one of those new abstractions that came in. It's like, look, there's also the thing called governance tokens. There's ways to be parts of certain organizations, and you can get compensated for it. Just stuff like that. And it's only just the beginning too. So, so for me, it's like, to make an income in the crypto space, the more you dig deep and the more you see where the technology itself is going and attribute that to NFTs and crypto art, like that's how far you can take it as well. So so it was kind of nice to just have that happen and say, look, this is possible as well, And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it was nice for me. But yeah, that was great. So props to the Rarible team, man.
Yeah, really. I remember like in the early days of the Rari distributions, you were getting paid more Rari than what you were spending on the art.
Yeah.
Right. So you were being given art basically for free, and then you'd get your Rari drop, and it was an insane mechanism in a way that that's how really they just, exponential their growth.
Yeah. And well, we were selling pieces left and right, and so we were getting the drops as well. So it was kind of a wild time, man. We were just productivity for Max, myself, Jay, everybody else, man. We were going for it. So we were like, we just had fun every day, just making new pieces, and people were buying them. So I'm like, hey, this is great. Like I can keep making tons of more pieces, and I make the Technorigami stuff at the time. That whole collection, like that was just messing around with like the collectible aesthetic, because I started seeing like in Rarible, like it wasn't just like fine art. There was a different thing kind of coming out. Like I don't want to say products or anything, but like I always kind of like have an affinity to like the vinyl toy collection, like aesthetic. That's a whole nother beast, like the Funko Pop stuff and all that stuff. Like that to me is another art form. It's not considered like fine art, but for me, like if you can really like own that and know how to develop something like that is an art form to me. Like if you can find some way to make a collectible and just have it stick so much where people just have to buy it. Like the Twerky Pepe guy, like he's a force to be reckoned. I told people, I said that guy is a force to be reckoned with in the space. Just watch, and he keeps making stuff, and people love it and acquire them. So yeah, Rarible has I think it's
absolutely
a big part of this history now, honestly.
You know what is something cool that you invented, I think, as well, is you would release a new style, right? And you would price it incredibly high. And you'd be like, this is it. This is like final form aesthetic. And you let it sit for a couple months. And then you like slash prices for 24 hours, like 80%. And then I was like, oh my God, like I need to have this now.
Yeah.
Such a crazy effect, because it feels inaccessible, and like you get it, you see the evolution in the style. I mean, you did it with, there was a super cool series 2 that I remember. It was like the like almost like aliens coming back and visiting and finding like the hieroglyphs.
Oh yeah, the cave wave stuff.
The cave wave, yes.
Yeah. So okay, so like that series is kind of like a little bit like it was inspired a little bit like the Basquiat style in a sense. And it's weird, like a lot of my crypto art peers, there's a little bit of influences from a lot of them actually kind of in that piece. But like, I don't know, I was kind of trying to devise like a new series, and I just kept thinking. And then I just came up with the idea. I'm like, well, what if all this technology, like finally or the whole human race was like wiped off, and the only thing that were left behind were a bunch of computer parts scattered across the world, and like a new primitive race comes in. Even though they're futuristic, like they would have to reappropriate those items as like ritual pieces, So like there's imagery of like keyboards and desktop computers and just mashed together, and I just put it in like a hyper future, and there's writing that's upside down. The reason why the writing is upside down is because like if you took a keyboard and you looked at it, like we would know the correct way to place it. Like we would know how to read it. But for them, like if they looked at it upside down and interpreted it that way, then they would be writing those symbols upside down. So for me, like everything usually I wrote on there, like as far as writing was upside down, just because, they just misappropriated it, And so, so I made all those pieces. But like I would do the, like the pieces probably were like 1F at the time. And I'm like, okay, they're all 0.25 now for today. And I was like rushing in to go buy them, but it works, So that was pretty cool.
That was super cool. And then you did those like hyper contemporary portraits. I don't think hyper contemporary is a word, but you did those contemporary portraits with those colors. I mean, those are very beautiful. Those
Yeah.
are very,
So were those the AI ones or?
yes.
Yeah. I was still doing yeah, like I was done with the portrait morphs, I think, at the time, but like here and there, like I would do like just a single piece just on the portrait stuff. Shoot, it's so hard to find them on here.
I know it's impossible, but
I think
What
I'm trying to
what
think
are
of,
they? What are they called?
it's called AI
um,
deity.
Is it?
I think it's like AI deity conjuring.
oh yeah, AI deity. Yeah, if you type yeah, and then just type deity or
Deity.
press space or add a space after the I or whatever. Let's see. There you go. Deity.
Here?
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I think the Druid owns that one. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So this is kind of like a mini series in the series, but like I was thinking, like what would be the deities of that society, And so like this would be kind of like an apparition, but like a super future apparition, like a god of some sort, in like some type of super future. So, but like, yeah, there's like upside down writing. There's like a Windows like logo in there. Like, what, that they don't know what Windows means. They just probably think it's probably cool or something, And so a lot of those, a lot of these symbols were kind of like inserted there. But I was always fascinated with how like history can be forgotten, and if it's found, it can be misinterpreted. So I remember Elon was talking about something like, even though the Egyptians made all these wonderful things, like there's gaps in history where you forget and you have to rediscover, artifacts and so forth. So yeah, that was fun.
Could you click on that collection? I think this is probably what inspired me to call like the collection that I had fine art.
Yeah, there's a lot of pieces you got from this. Yeah, this is the OpenSea store. Yeah, so you can go down. Yeah, thanks for finding that. By the way, I'm like an airhead when it comes to like trying to pull up stuff. Let's see, you'll probably see some of your pieces in here, Colborne.
I have, yeah. There's
Point me to the ones that you wanna see.
Yeah, it's up to you, Colborne, if you wanna.
I mean, that one's so good. The 1-800 Vitalik.
Oh yeah, you can click on the gray one. Yeah,
yeah,
this one.
Conceptual. Yeah. Still not collected yet, but
still not collected.
Yeah, that's my stamp on the Gatsby thing.
Yeah.
But luckily, Vitalik's name had a perfect fit. But when the Gatsbys were going crazy, and I told everybody too. I said, get prepared for $50 fees, and they're like, no way, that's never gonna happen. That's never gonna happen. I'm like, just wait. And then when it happened, I was like, see. And then I had to make that. It's just one of those simple pieces. It's just like sign of the times for sure. Yeah.
I'm not gonna be able to get the Hotline Bling jingle out of my head now.
Yeah.
I saw that you there's a series of you and Max like iMessages or like Telegram messages as well in your Rarible section.
Yeah. Let's see what else, man. Yeah, there's
I mean, another one of my favorites, of course, Robness signing the Rari chart.
Oh yeah, what's funny? That was somebody else who made that.
Really?
That was crazy. Yeah, somebody else took my signature and just inserted and gave it to me, which I thought was pretty cool. Because so that was made, but I minted a piece of the drop when I sold all the Rarible, and that was just honestly, that was a conflict between myself and Rarible and how everything was going, and that was when like there was like less concern of the artists coming in and more like for like the famous people were coming in. So I kind of was like perturbed with that. I was like, nah, I'm not down with that. And it was a thing at the time. And I was like, well, seeing a cliff dive like that on a chart is kind of like epic back in the day, like the Big Connect stuff and all that stuff. I mean, everybody like goes to those charts and they look back and I'm like, look what happened there.
Yeah.
And since I did it, I'm like, well, I'm just going to take a snapshot and just mint and tokenize it, And that's just like kind of the tradition. Like Max and I was like, if something like ridiculous happened in the space, whether we did it or somebody else did it, like we'll comment on it, because we know in the future, like we'll be dead and gone, but people will probably talk about it, So, yeah.
I mean, it's the beauty, right, of NFTs, and that's what we were playing with, like capturing those ethereal moments that would have kind of just faded. You can capture them, NFT them, they stick there. That's history, and it's permanent, right? And I mean, there's been pieces that I've just created because I'm like, this is, you know, amazing. Screen grab, take it to Photo Mosh, you know, just mosh it, and then take it to Rarible and mint it. Like,
and it's also like, you know, there's no, like, it's all about experimentation, you know, like there was never, you know, you never kind of were worried about, oh, if I go to Rarible, then I might, you know, be seen this way or this other way by the collectors of the community. Like everything, I feel like everything that you've done out of, you know, I want to do this. I think this is fun. I'm going to do it. And that's the spirit, you know, it's like, it's what I personally think, like, it's what crypto art is about. Like, it's not really about like staying in those schemes, but really going out of the schemes, right? Like that's the whole reason, essentially, you know, why it was here in the first place. Like it wasn't about staying in, it was about people that didn't fit into the schemes and really wanted a place to express themselves.
Met a lot of great people,
you know. Yeah, exactly.
And you guys as well. Like, I mean, Nicole, like, like you said you went through the Rarible phase, and it's like I was lucky enough to meet you through there. And like you were saying, Lulu XX, and there's a lot of artists that went through that kind of outer rim, but like they, I don't know, fortunately or unfortunately, ran into me. But like, you know, that's how it happened. You know, so I got to meet a lot of good people out of that too. And you know, I already knew the people in super rare design too, and there was like artists that were jumping on that were new, but like I was able to like kind of converse between both, which is good. Yeah, I guess that's another thing too, is like the more you kind of can traverse around this space, like you never know who you're going to run into, and what projects are going to kind of come out of that, or collaborations too. That's another thing. So, but yeah, it was a good time.
Do you want to talk about your collection at all, man? Because your collection is insane.
Oh my God.
You have incredible pieces.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, if you like, probably.
Is it on?
Shoot, you should probably just go to the OpenSea. And just go to my account, probably. Yeah, it's just, man, let's just go into the warehouse now.
Yeah, I want to see like what stands out for you in your collection.
Yeah, let me see. As far as my wallet, let me see.
Artists?
Sorry, there's like too many.
Which one is it? This Robness Prince?
I'm wondering why my account doesn't pop up.
I'll see.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, let me see. If we just find a piece that maybe I own, we could probably go to it. I'm trying to think how we can get there. That's so weird.
I think I found it. Yeah, here, I found it. I can maybe see it.
Okay, go ahead.
Thanks. Sorry, Nicole. It was like too much.
I put it in our private chat, Nicole.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you got the link. Okay.
I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, and man, something we didn't talk about that I am eternally grateful for is the 64-gallon Totter pixel chain.
Yeah. Yes. The 64 pixel, yeah.
The 64 pixel. The 64.
Yeah. Okay, so there's so many different things going on. Yeah, you can just keep going down. I can comment on a lot of this stuff. You know, of course, I got some Torquey Pep in there, and there's a lot of artists I've picked up just from various places.
Sort it on Super Rare, I think.
Yeah. We can go to Super Rare for sure.
Yeah. You picked up that Idiot piece, which was an amazing piece.
Let me see. Yeah, that's the one I fought over.
Yeah.
That
one was definitely for you.
Yeah, and let me see. Where does it say? Let me see. Like, just go down. Yeah, man. Okay, so hold on, give me 1 second. Oh my God, I don't want to act like an idiot right now.
I think is it Sean Williams?
Let me see here. Yeah, Sean Williams, and he made that piece. And right when I saw it, I was like, I got to get this thing. I have to get it. It's just one of those spontaneous things, and just the fact that you put the frame around it, it was just like, oh my God, I love it. Just so simple, powerful to me. I mean, and honestly, the just totally like wrecked that wall, and you could tell whatever was going on. Like I could just totally like sympathize with them. I'm like, man, that's called life, stress, everything, just encapsulated. And yeah, I just had to collect that piece. I just think it's phenomenal. It's conceptual. I actually like the photograph too. I actually like the composition of the photograph.
Yeah,
that was another thing too. Sometimes it's kind of weird. Sometimes if the piece is like really really good and the composition is not there, I'm like, But in this case, even though there's like a slight tilt, it doesn't matter to me. Like just the colors are all there and everything. So like I do keep that in mind as well.
I mean, the lighting is beautiful, and then it's just like, it's you, man. It's just like wreck that wall and call it art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go to Kit and Janae. Yeah, this piece, the Hollow World. Oh my God, this piece. I just talked to her yesterday too. If you go up a little bit, let's see right there, the one with the it's kind of like shining through. Hollow World. Yeah, you were just past it. Right there. Yeah,
Here.
that's it. Right there. Yeah, that's it. Or wait, no. That's
it's got the blue sky, green grass background.
Oh,
yeah, there it is. Yeah. Okay, so this piece, this is straight magic. If you can like open that up a little bit, like or maximize it. Okay, so I guess this is one of her like really like just one of those pieces that really like vibe with her. I didn't realize it at the time, but I mean, just look at this thing. Like the sunlight is coming through the picture and reflecting off the body. It's just it's magnanimous, this piece. Just so many things about it. I mean, it's up to interpretation, of course. I mean, she's got her own, of course, like interpretations of what it means to her. But to me, I just think the piece itself is like futurist and classical at the same time, and the picture itself is of an old world, old kind of, what you would normally expect, just typical nature scene, but for some reason it just bleeds through into some hyper future world,
kind of mixes the two.
Yeah, and it's a nice blend, but just the light is just slowly coming out and just hitting the body. You can kind of see it's just great. So yeah, that piece I absolutely love it, and of course I just had to freaking fight for it. It's mine. I'm getting it. Let's see what else we got.
I mean, you were very early to Sky Golpe. I saw that Sky Golpe piece.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There you go. The reason why I had to get this, honestly, like, of course, his style is definitely just, everybody knows his style. It's very strong. Just the unknown portrait. But honestly, I just thought the noise effect in the background was really done well. It just was real smooth, and just the color schemes, and for me, I was just like, this is a magical piece, and I had to get this one, man. And I don't know if it's the blue juxtaposed with the whites and the blacks, but just the color scheme just seems to work really well. And yeah, and I just kind of knew, I'm like, this artist is going to definitely make a splash. And this is kind of right in the beginning, when he started coming out too. But right when I saw it, I was just like, I have to get it.
I think it's his second piece.
Yeah, was it a second? I can't remember, but yeah, it was definitely close to one of the first ones. And so I don't know. I keep a lookout for artists, and if they just have that special knack, and it's just something that I think is super special, I'm going for it. Yeah. So
it's a special one. This one, actually, I like I don't know what it is, but it's like the color scheme, or even the way that it's just kind of put together. It's really special. I think I remember seeing it and actually speaking to him about it, and it's a really good one of his.
Yeah. And
Like
another thing
there's
too,
not much going on, but at the same time, there's so much going on. It's like
right? Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's cool.
And another thing too is like the crypto art aesthetic. There's like a certain kinds of approaches that
Yeah.
people gravitate to, and the TV noise thing was big.
Yeah.
You know, like X Copy's known for doing it.
Yeah.
I've done it. A lot of others have done it. And
Gary Cartledge, I saw one of his pieces, maybe not on this one, but I saw you had in your other collection. He is known for doing it as well.
yeah, I
It's
think
that
I got a lot of Gary from Known Origin. Actually, if you look at my Known Origin tab, like I got a good piece from Miss L Simpson there, and I got a bunch of Gary Cartledge, I believe, on there as well. So some early Gary right
I
here.
love this as well.
There's if you scroll down, the one on the right here, the Einstein Mark II on the right. That was one of his super early pieces, and I had to get that one. I just loved it. Man. Look at that thing. It's great.
Yeah. Another artist, very early to Rarible.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and I found him and Miss Al Simpson first on Known Origin, because I got on there first, and I was looking around and started seeing their pieces. I'm like, these are my people. You know, like they're still, you know, have a kind of like a pop art kind of like background, but still futurist in their approach. So, but yeah, this Einstein piece, I just absolutely love it. Just the colors are just, everything about it is well composed. Yeah. So that's a good one. If you go back, there's a Miss Al piece that I got, or a bourgeoisie punk, which I think is like one of her hallmarks, honestly. Let me see if we go down a little bit. Let's see. It's somewhere around here. Or was it?
I saw one of Miss Al Simpson in your super rare collection as well.
Yeah. Oh, there it is, right there. Yeah, it was hiding. Bourgeoisie punk. Yeah. So you go up a little bit. There it is. Yeah. Yeah. This piece is like towering. Okay. Like this can be on the side of a building, and it's just literally just commanding the space. Just everything about it, I just love it. It's just the colors and just the posture, and it says to me, like her style. It's just like a not post-apocalyptic, but it's like post-pop. You know, just everything's just getting destroyed and repopulated, and it's weird because it's like with Miss Al's style, it's like she has an affinity for like the old pop world, but also there's like, I don't want to say it's her outlook, but for me, like there's also a distaste about some of it. You know, especially like for me, I used to work Hollywood, so I have like a kind of like there's a couple of things I really have a distaste for in the industry. And so all those things kind of hit me with this piece. So, yeah, it's just one of my favorites from her. And that's another thing too, is like, you know, like Super Rare has a lot of great pieces, you know, but sometimes, man, like there's some other spots that just have the masterpieces just appear. It could be from Rarible, it could be Known Origin, it could be, you never know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let's see what else we got here.
It's actually really nice to, you know, go through an artist collection. Like it's
here we go. Max's piece. Oh, I got to talk about this one. Go up a little bit. On the right, the I everything else.
It's so
this
good.
is a fucking masterpiece right here.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you maximize this, okay, so there's a lot of things going on here. It's an advertisement. First of all, it's an advert. He was making an artificial intelligence advert. He used Art Breeder. He used a little bit of classical sampling with the little character right there. The description itself says it all, but the bottom line is he's typing a jellyfish typewriter. He's using like the artificial GANs to mix technology with the skin of the it's just there's so many things going on, and the advert is typed in abstract like artificial intelligence generator program, which comes up with like just abstract symbols. So there's like all these things going on, and just for me, it's just like an advert from some crazy altered universe, you know. So yeah, and that's actually how I met Max too, because I got that piece and then like
No
he hit
way.
me up and then we started talking. So it was kind of weird. It's like we met each other through appreciation, and yeah, I told him, I said, this piece is genius, dude, like straight up. And that was actually one of my first pieces that I picked up that I was like, yeah, man, this crypto art thing's gonna be pretty special. You know, there's some real like cool people in here that are like really vibing with what I see, you know. And
Yeah.
so yeah, and I just love this. I just love this piece. I don't even know what the screen is behind the typewriter, you know. I don't know what's going on there. It looks like he's like typing up some organism too, you know. It's like but yeah, there's a lot of things. The artificial intelligence stuff's interesting if you really know how to work it, you know. And sometimes people just use it, and it's just like kind of, it's like, oh, here's an AI piece, you know. But I like how Max was manipulating it for his own use, you know. It's like just another paintbrush, it's just another tool for his own like type of expression. Yeah, and thankfully there's other artists doing that too as well. But yeah, that's one of my favorite pieces from him for sure. You're gonna have to pry it off me if they want to buy it.
Yeah, what's that, 158 million?
Yeah, something ridiculous. Yeah.
Nah, that's about right.
Yeah. This all Simpsons. Oh, The Big Strange. Yeah, Norman Harmon. We got to talk about him. We got to talk about Norman, man.
I mean, your collab pieces also.
Yeah, last confirmation stuff. You know, we've been shooting, I think it's like 50 pieces plus and up, I think now at this point.
Yeah.
But this is his personal work. And he was the Big Strange stuff. You know, he has a painting background, like really strong, like, you know, analog painting background. But I think he went to the same school as Trevor Jones or something like that.
Interesting.
From what I understand. But in here, he's using his technique with the digital. And if you like, you can't really zoom in with the OpenSea stuff, but like you can see that all those are like digital paint strokes, you know, and it's sort of messy, but like, isn't that how paint is normally, you know? So it's like a lot of things like going on here, and just his color choices for this in particular. Like I just had to get this piece. I was like, oh man. I mean, he's got a lot of great pieces, and he's kind of like one of the unsung heroes, like in the space. And he'll have his day in the sun for sure. Like it's coming. I know it is.
You know what? You know what was crazy is that VK Crypto, right? Liquidated everything, and then just bought Norman Harmon.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. No way. See, that makes me happy. Like, okay, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, his Big Strange stuff, it's weird. It's got a little bit of like I told him I don't like to say like, oh, the pieces remind me of this, because you know, you start tagging things, but it does kind of give me like a Hopper kind of look to it. There's some scenes that he does. Like this is an up close piece, of course, but like there's a couple of pieces that he's done where they're like actually like just like street scenes and stuff, and it seems to me like kind of like a futurist Hopper in a sense. You know, it's very like there's like some type of like cold element there. You know, but yeah, his pieces are pretty powerful. You know.
Yeah, about like 2 days ago, you know, I knew, because he raised all his prices on Super Rare, right? But I remember that he had priced stuff on Rarible and probably had forgotten to change it. So I went back to his Rarible account and picked up a couple pieces.
Yeah.
Proud of that.
Oh, here we go. The Big Strange. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, like
oh, those two I own. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
These are. It's great. It's great.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, it's just kind of crazy stuff, man. Love it, man. There's one where he does. It's like this guy in this black trench coat, and it looks like he's in a. I think I just saw it. If you go down a little bit, there it is, right there, the campus.
Yeah,
man, I don't know what's going on there. But
that's like somebody walking away from the building in Washington D.C.
Yeah, and it's just it's just like, what's going on there?
Yeah.
I don't know, but it looks pretty damn serious, you know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just got this mysterious, really like, it's badass, but it's like also dark in a sense to me in some aspects. But yeah, it's just great work.
Why don't we go back and let's go to the shards of the Sotheby's auctioneer, and because I know you've been rather vocal about this, and maybe this is a good thing to talk about is this one's very interesting, but
we feel the same way, and I think that's the reason why Norm and I constantly collab. Like, well, for one, he's got kind of like, even though he's a painter and stuff, we have kind of like an affinity for music as well. So we always talk music all the time, but there's a certain kind of attitude, and I guess both of us kind of like us collaborating together. It's like so effortless. It's like there's no conflict at all. It's just the easiest thing ever, you know. But yeah, we have the same feelings about what the Sotheby's and Christie's thing, because like a year and a half ago, I remember everybody was saying, "Oh, we don't need them." Like,
yeah,
we don't need them anymore, and then we're the whole new world, this and that. And now it's like, okay, everybody's gonna go on to Christie's, and I don't know. Like, people are kind of telling me, like, look, man, you're gonna like walk away from that kind of thing, or whatever. I haven't been accepted or anything, but I'm just saying, you know, Cryptoart was like an escape from all of that, and it's just like using cryptocurrency, escaping from the banks. Like, we were getting away from all that. So, and another thing too is, like, I understand Christie's and Sotheby's, like, they want to get involved, and that's like they have to survive. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But what I fear, and I think is like what happened with the CryptoPunks. The CryptoPunks, like, sorry about that. They were upset with how it was presented, and they had a valid case for it. I think there was misunderstanding on both parts, which is a whole nother, topic entirely. But yeah, like the CryptoPunks people didn't understand why Christie's did the way they displayed, the way they displayed their stuff. And for me, like, I knew from both sides, I'm like, they're honoring an old tradition of street art and Space Invader stuff, but the CryptoPunks people didn't get that. And I think that really kind of like owns in on why it's not going to work in the long run, because there's such a deep history already in crypto art. Like, how do you expect Christie's or Sotheby's to even navigate all of that,
Yeah.
and let alone trying to explain to them? I mean, they're going to get just the surface of it. They're not going to understand all the drama or the stories between everybody, because everybody else was living it. So for me, I think like having a new type of auction house is probably best suited. And I was already making jokes like the other day, like I made the Finney's logo, like Finney's established 2021, because like that's what's going to happen. But the thing is too, is like, I think another thing too is like, look, Christie's would not touch crypto art if they didn't see a $69 million people sale possible. They would never even, they would say, oh, we don't do crypto art, because the money wasn't there at the time. But because the money's there now, all of a sudden they're like, oh, here's the open doors. So I think that should let everybody know really what's going on here. And I mean, honestly, the crypto world can crush Christie's numbers probably in 2 years from now. I could see a piece getting sold for 300 mil, no problem. No problem at all. And that's just because we're in a whole new entire market. There's a whole new, I mean, look at the crypto market cap right now. It just takes one DAO to do that. like honestly, like I see where it's going, and I see the DAOs are starting to make some big sales and or big buys, and so I don't know. I'm kind of like looking into the future on what is going to happen, and I think really it's just they're just latching on. They want to stick. They want to stick around, which is fine. But I don't know. Maybe I got to be the one that's a little vocal about it. Like there's a reason why they're here, guys. And it's not because it was just crypto art, it's because the money's here, so, and that's that. So, yeah, I'm a little hard edged, but Christie's and Sotheby's like, screw this Robness guy, screw it. Yeah. But, I mean, that's the truth. So,
yeah, I think me and Colburn, like we had we've chatted about this before, and I actually chatted to you, Robness, about it, because I just said, I think I pretty much agree, you know, like as you said, they wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the money, and they have to survive, as everybody has to survive, you know, like a lot of people that are, you know, coming into the space, it's because they saw the money. And there's a deep history before the money, like the money wasn't even there, you know, it wasn't about the money. You know, we've like from the rare Pepes to, you know, crypto kitties to CryptoPunks, like CryptoPunks were worthless, you know, 3 or 4 years ago, you know. So it was just about you know, being in a community and kind of believing in the values of it. And I think that's what has to be told, and it's not being told, you know. So yeah, like that's the importance of, you know, really kind of, you know, you said before, like, you know, I love the fact that somebody can go back and like look at, you know, history through like pieces of art, and, you know, these are pieces of history, like written through art. And, you know, everything that we've been talking about today, it's like, you know, really like crypto art history, like that's what needs to be talked about. And most of these people that we mentioned today are the least vocal and, you know, least out there people that have made the basis of what everybody's, you know, let's say using at the moment. So yeah, I mean, I feel very strongly about this. And
and another thing too is, okay, so another thing about the crypto space and the crypto community and all that is, if you see new projects coming out, you usually support them, right? So here's the thing. Every other project has been getting supported. So why are we not supporting the auction houses that are happening right now? You got Daniel Penn, you got Roaring Auctions, you got all these people that are trying to like do something, and all of a sudden we just like, oh, that's okay. Like, we're just gonna go with Christie's now. I think we should like reorganize how we're seeing this thing. And for me, like the Roaring Auctions, I saw them do the Rare Pepe auctions at Future Art, and not too many people saw what was going on, but I thought it was freaking hilarious. I thought it was great. What they had was, they had the podium, they had the lots, and then they had like a side screen of like the telegram room, right? And I jumped on there, and all of a sudden I could see myself on the screen with the telegram, and I'm throwing bids on there, and he's reading the bids out. It was like this weird meta, like live auction, and I'm like, this is pretty crypto, even though it was like old school, but it was a nice mix. And then when the auctions happened and like somebody won, like people were dropping memes on the telegram. And we're seeing all these memes getting dropped on the screen, and all of that hilarity was going on. I'm like, this is kind of a nice crypto vibe, actually. So I think like the auctioneering as a form in crypto can be developed, and I think there's people that are doing it. So I think, I don't know, it's kind of a shout out to the rest of the crypto world. It's like, look, man, we should probably support some of these people. And keep that going. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, seriously, I mean, I know it takes.
We've got enough. We've got enough here, right?
Yes, seriously. And I think I said I'll invest in the next, you know, auction house. You know, why not? You know, so just something to throw out to everybody, just to consider. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
And it would be nice to have an auction house that's established, like in the crypto sphere, like that's ours. You know, so. Christie's don't want to hear that, but sorry. Like,
but it's the same, you know, with like, you know, Colburn, like what you're doing with the Museum of Crypto Art, like that this is an establishment for the crypto art world, and you know, it's so important. And the same has to happen with like everything that, you know, like let's not bring in what we were trying to get away from. Let's try and build new things, because of what, you know, that has come so far and what we've built with crypto art. And I think that's important. You know, we have all the possibilities, the means, the medium, you know, the minds, like the creatives, like there's everything here. You know, you can find anyone from all over the world. Like it's when are you able to find so many people from all over the world with different experiences all mixed together in one place? Like, yeah. That's utopia, you know, right there. Like we have it.
Things happen really quickly too. That's the best part. It's like all these energies are from all over the planet, and all of a sudden they just converge, and things just happen like that. And that's the beauty of this whole thing. So yeah, I'm totally down with seeing something like that develop. develop. And I mean, you know, the Museum of Cryptoart, I mean, look at that. I mean, what Colborne's doing, it's just amazing. And to have all these stories like told properly, like I keep going back to the Christie's CryptoPunks thing. There was a disconnect there, and it's just a cultural thing. And so for me, it's important to like make sure that the culture is like told properly, explained properly. So, because I mean, if you're trying to explain it like to regular people, you want to do it correctly. So, so all those things are like really important. And I think the only people that are really able to tell that are the people that are living it. You know, so yeah, just all those things I think are pretty important.
Look, all to say that like we do need our own institutions because we understand our own culture, and then we also like I have to give up control to allow other people to bring in and put in the things that are important to them and build it around something that is community driven as opposed to just like what I feel and believe. Yeah. Right. So like with this first collection, it's 160 pieces from 160 artists. And then an invitation to all the collectors to bring in and add the artists that they thought were foundational, right? Yeah. If we can get like that ideological idea that everybody who came here early and created and was expressing creativity on the blockchain is foundational to everything that came before it, we can kind of like level set this playing field and say, this is a community, like these are the people and these are the stories, and let's invite other people in and build something that is like community organized instead of kind of under, okay, here's the thing, right? Yeah. art forever has been like people at the top pulling people up and out, right? But we're in this like primordial soup and ooze, and we have the ability to like push people up and out and gather around like the heroes that represent the ideals and vision that we have, instead of having somebody else tell us like what is or what isn't representative of us. Yeah.
And I think your approach too with having like opening up and having like little sectors kind of like delegate all that stuff. It's important because there's like, I mean, even in my case, there's like the whole trash side of things, you know? And for me, it's like one of those things I'm just a spectator now, and I'm just looking at that soup just happening, and I'm totally indebted to everybody that's even like partaking in it or feeling something out of it. That's one, like the CryptoPunks, CryptoKitties side, even though it's like freaking insane, like that's another one. Just all these little niche communities that are happening. Even Pranksy's got his own little world, you know, like all these things that are happening, and they all have very valid, points to say and about what's going on, and they're all big parts of the organism that's happening. So I think if we can get a like honest take on all of them, I think that's the best thing we can do, you know, for preserving all of what's been going on, because all this stuff is super historic. Like for me at this point, just all the stuff that's happening, every move we're making is going to be, you know, is being written down. So I think it's amazing. It's crazy to even be in it, but yeah, congrats to you guys too, because yeah, you guys are all family at this point, you know.
Yeah.
I think Natural Warp, he was following us, but said something really nice. Totally visionary, complete narrative of the movement is where the power is at. So yeah, that's I think that's a nice way to close it off as well.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure too. Thanks for letting me riff a little bit.
It's always so fun, man. First of many.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks whoever's out there. I don't know who's watching, but yeah, I hope I've imparted.
There's quite a few people. We have Patrick Bentley, thanks, Alt Collector, Bionus, Pepe Cash Millionaire, I think.
Nice. He's classic. Right
yeah, for quite a few people. Robness, you should be screaming everything. I think that's a recurring one every time.
I know, I'm cursed forever.
Everybody expects you to.
What that even means. Like, I feel like I'm screaming into this thing normally, so I'm setting the meter high. Sorry about that, but yeah.
I love the all caps. It's your trademark, you know.
They wouldn't let me stop typing like that in the beginning. That's how it just stuck. Like every time I try to type low caps, I'm like, nah, that's not you. So I can't change it. It's over. Wow.
Love it. Thank you both so much. It was super fun.
Thanks, Nicole. Yeah, thanks, Colborne, man. Much love, guys.
Much love.
Peace.
See ya.